If I had $1 million, I would travel. If I hadn't taken that trip last week, I would have regretted it. Okay, what is all that about? It's about the conditional. So I want to talk to you about how to construct a conditional sentence, and it really depends, the grammar depends on whether you are thinking about the future and imagining something, or whether you're thinking about the past. And it also depends if you're thinking about the future as if it's a real possibility, or if you're thinking about the future as if it's an unreal possibility. So there's a lot to discuss right there. Let's get to it. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about the conditional and how to write and speak this correctly. So we have what's called the conditional tense, and basically it requires an if and then a condition and a result. So for example, if y equals 5, then 2 times y, or 2 multiplied by 5, equals 10. Okay, that's my result. Here's another situation using language instead of mathematics. If it rains, I won't go. Okay. And then we can also reverse this, right? We can start with the result, 2y equals 10. Oh, there's my result. If y equals 5, right? Here's my result. I won't go if it, oops, there's a little mistake right there. Let me fix it. If it rains. Okay. Now, keep in mind that in terms of punctuation, if you start with the if clause here, if something, something, you're going to need a comma and then your result. If you begin with the result, you don't need a comma. You just go right to if and then your condition. All right. So let's get really into this, talking about different situations. And the first situation, the first conditional, is a real possibility. So we are talking about the future, and there is a real possibility that this condition will happen. So let's say that I want to go to the beach, and the beach is just 20 minutes from my house. It is a very real possibility that I will go there, or I can go there. But, it looks as if there are clouds in the sky and it might rain soon. Maybe it will even be a storm, a thunderstorm. So this is a situation where there is a real possibility. Maybe I want to go to the beach after I teach English, and I want to go there at 3 p.m. today, but dun, 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 the clouds are here. So if I'm going to use the condition part is going to get simple present tense, okay? And the result part will get will plus the base verb. So, if it rains, I won't go to the beach. If it rains, I won't go to the beach. Okay? Now, it's possible you can do present continuous here if you really wanted to. If it is raining, okay? And you can do that, all right? If it is raining, I won't go to the beach. But for our sake today, we're just going to keep it simple with the simple present tense. I always say, hey, when you can be simple, why not be simple? It's easy. It's really preferable if you if you can construct a sentence in the most simple way. And I know at this level of English, sometimes the tendency is to want to complicate things and make it more fancy or just, you know, more sophisticated. But truly, when you can use the simple present tense, use it. It's the best. All right, if the crowds are too much, meaning if it is too crowded, I will leave. If she doesn't care, I won't care either. Okay, so maybe it's this situation where I'm meeting up with someone, let's say tomorrow. It's a very real possibility that we'll meet. We'll talk about a new project we're doing together. But if she doesn't care about certain things, then I won't care either. Okay, very real possibility. So that's condition one. It's a real possibility sometime in the future. And we have if condition is simple present, and then the result will be will plus the base verb. The base verb just means the bare infinitive or just the verb without the to. Okay, so it's go, it's leave, right? It's won't care. Care would be the base verb. Okay, now if I want to switch this up and start with the result, I can certainly do that. I won't care either if she doesn't care. I won't care either if she doesn't care. All right, let's move on. Second conditional. Now this is different than the first conditional in that it is not a real possibility. It is a dream. Okay, so imagine that you are in this field along with this woman, or maybe you're sitting at home in your couch, on your couch, looking out your window, and you are imagining some fantasy. You're imagining this situation that's not likely to come true, but you are just kind of dreaming about it. You're fantasizing, okay? So in this case, we are thinking about the future, but there's not a possibility that it could happen, all right? You are dreaming of something, you are imagining what it would be like. So think of her, maybe she's imagining her dream house, or she's imagining $1 million coming into her life tomorrow, or she's imagining going out into outer space and being an astronaut right now, right? So this is all fantasy in this moment. So here's how you would structure that, okay? The if condition is going to get the past simple tense, okay? So simple past tense. And then the result is going to get would plus base verb, or just the verb, no to. If I had $1 million. So in this moment, as I speak this, I am just imagining this as fantasy, not as a real possibility, okay? If I had $1 million right now, there's no possibility that I have it right now, but if I had $1 million, I would buy you a house. There's actually a very catchy song. If I had $1 million, I would buy you a house. You can look up the song. I forget now who the artist is, but you know, that's why we have Google and these amazing search engines. Sure, you can find that song. It's full of this conditional, okay? If I launched into space, I would marvel at the stars. And marvel just means kind of wonder and take in all the awesomeness that the stars are. So is there a real possibility I'm going to get launched into space tomorrow? No, there's not. I'm just dreaming about that. If I won the lottery, I didn't even play the lottery, so there's no possibility that I won the lottery. But if I won the lottery, I would travel the world. Okay, so this is second conditional. That's how you do it. And once again, if you want to put your result first, you certainly can. I would travel the world if I won the lottery. Okay. Now let's move on to the third conditional. And this is where I see students on their writing test number 2, TOEFL essays, make a mistake with the third conditional, okay? So remember this, the third conditional, there is no possibility because that time is over. It's done with. It's in the past, okay? So if I am this woman looking at, let's say this is my wedding picture, and I am thinking to myself about some condition that took place in the past, okay? That's the third conditional. So, for example, and by the way, this is where it really gets tricky, right? In the third conditional, we're talking about the past. It's a condition that didn't occur, okay? If, and then we're going to use the past perfect with the condition. The result, we're going to use would have plus the past participle. So once again, I'm going to use the example of this woman looking at herself in this wedding picture. And she's thinking, if I had not married him, so that's my condition in the past, right? She actually did marry him. So she's talking about the condition that didn't happen. So if I had not married him, I would not have been so happy all my life. Would not have, there's the would have, and then past participle, been so happy. Okay. If I had gone to Harvard, it's impossible. I didn't go to Harvard. I went to the University of Connecticut. So I am imagining the past differently. If I had gone to Harvard, I would have gotten a great job out of school. And for this purpose, I'm going to write down right out of school, which means immediately, right? Those Harvard students are just given a job immediately. Right? If I had studied harder, oh my gosh, I didn't study hard. So now I'm imagining the past in a different way. If I had studied harder, I would have passed my test. If I hadn't taken her advice, I would not have succeeded. If I hadn't had confidence, I would not have gotten the job. Okay, I just want to pause right there. If I hadn't had confidence, I would not have gotten the job. So imagine yourself, I want to make this relatable to the TOEFL. Imagine that you are in writing task number 2. I see students use this a lot when they get to the end of their supporting paragraph. So let's say you're writing an essay and you're talking all about how important confidence is, right? The question is, do you think confidence is important? Do you agree or disagree? Confidence is important. And you say, yes, confidence is important. Okay, and now you've given me an example of this situation where you maybe went into an interview, you had a lot of fear and doubt, and you just decided, no, I really want this job, so I'm going to act confidently. And you got the job. Like, wow, so confidence helped you get this job. And you tell me this example, and then at the very end of that paragraph, and this is what I've seen students do, they write something like, if I hadn't had confidence, I wouldn't have gotten the job. This is grammatically correct. Sometimes, or a lot of times, I've seen this written incorrectly. So you want to make sure if this is something that you incorporate, which you don't have to, but if that's something that you incorporate into your TOEFL writing, wonderful. but just know how to do the grammar correctly for that, for what you want to express with the condition, okay? Now, you can also start with the result. I would not have gotten the job if I hadn't had confidence. No comma, notice that. Okay, our last condition here is called the zero conditional. It's when it's a fact. It's always true. Okay, so it's certain. And I just put an image here of the math or the equations, or, you know, this, it's very scientific, okay, in terms of the thinking of it. It's very factual, right? So in this case, the if in the condition part is going to be simple present tense, present simple. Result is also going to be simple present tense. Look at this fact. If you freeze water, it turns to ice. You can't argue with that, right? It's a fact. That's just how it is, okay? Now, you can also be very factual about your experience of everyday life, because it's your experience and no one can really argue with that. So you might say, if I am late for school, I miss my first class. If this is the condition, then this is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's certain that you're going to miss your class. If I go to bed late, I am too tired to get up at 5 a.m. That's just me. I go to bed at 2 a.m. I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. or even 7 a.m. for that matter. So it's a fact. It is absolutely certain. If people are angry, they do not want to listen. I've found this to be true in my experience. If I'm dealing with an angry person, no matter what I tell them, they are not going to listen to me because they are busy being angry. Okay. So we can also do this. We can put the result, they do not want to listen. People do not want to listen if they are angry. Okay. So, third conditional, if you use this in your TOEFL writing, you gotta nail the grammar, okay? Nail the grammar, which means get it right. Happy TOEFL studying, and I'll see you next time.